Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. Hope you're having a great day. Let's dig into some of those topics I covered in the Crypto Minute. So, companies like, Polygon Labs, A16Z, are actually praising the UK for how they're handling crypto regulation. I want you to take a step back and understand this. Obviously, the next biggest country that speaks English is making strides to make it easier and obviously create regulation guardrails around the crypto industry that's operating there. And the United States is still sleeping. The blame in the United States falls directly on the SEC and their, regulation through prosecution, and the CFTC for basically snoring at the wheel. Everybody believes, not everybody, but I would think most of the people out there believe that the CFTC would do a better job at managing the crypto industry, and they haven't been doing that. They've been letting, and just like everybody else, they've just been letting the SEC run rampant, run roughshod over the industry. And that's making a lot of companies think twice about doing business in the United States. And they're also making companies that are already established here think about leaving the United States. All stupid. All stupid. Simple guardrails will get us there. Simple guardrails. Is the industry perfect? No. Is the financial industry in general perfect? No. But guardrails help industries to actually act right. Right? So how about we consider that? And that to me is a sore point for me, because I think there are a lot of companies that are getting started in the United States that are doing some really cool things that can help us going forward. And to have regulation, through prosecution, not actually working with the industry to set up realistic guardrails, realistic regulation, basically a more pragmatic approach toward regulating a burgeoning industry. I think it's going to be a mistake, and I hope it gets corrected soon. And I think Congress is actually moving in that direction. DCG, I told you a while ago that there had been a deal between Genesis and Gemini and DCG. Basically, Gemini was, and a couple other creditors were going to take over Genesis. DCG was going to pay Genesis the $639 million that they owe, and all would be right with the world. Apparently, that's not what's going on right now. That deal was backed out of, and they're renegotiating what could wind up being the final solution. Hoping so. Hoping so. Now, I don't know if you recall, but this obviously stems from basically Contagion, from first 3 hours capital failure, then the FTX failure. So right now we're hoping that can all come back. Gemini has been making moves, and they're trying to make it right for their customers that were affected by this whole Genesis debacle. So we'll see what happens from there. But I also want to pay attention to what's going on with Genesis, right? Genesis and Gemini, actually. Now, this one has me a little bit miffed. So you're the CEO of a company, and you could have access to information that tells you that, stock price is going to take a hit because of certain events that only you know about or only the company knows about. Well, fingers are wagging at Brian Armstrong and a few other executives, because between them, they sold a ton of shares totaling about $1.4 billion, allegedly. And it's all based on, they did it a few days. Apparently, it's been alleged, I have to say that, alleged that they did it before announcing that there was a major data breach, leaving personal information for about 6,000 or over 6,000 of their customers at risk, or putting it out there in the wild. They took a hit for that, or the stock took a hit for that. They had sold just before that, supposedly. If that's true, that's going to be a problem. And I don't know how they're gonna escape that. One of the other problems is you now have the SEC looking at it. So when we thought they were coming from a strong position, that move or those moves could actually be a problem for them, and that's not going to be good. On another note, I wonder how many people remember what kind of work it took to create the euro, right? You had to get a block of nations to come together and say, yeah, let's do a single currency, blah 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 blah. Cool, it happened. A lot of bumps in the road, a lot of things that went on. And if you take that as an example and now look at what's going on with the BRICS nations, you can see that them entering into an idea to a sit down to actually figure out what the currency should be. Brazil, China, Russia, India. I forgot what the other one was. Doesn't matter. I'll look it up. Hopefully, I'll get to it before this is over. When I look at it, I sit there and I kind of say to myself, not really cool, right? There is no S, and so I did name them all. Give me a moment. Let me just make sure. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's who it was. South Africa. My bad. No disrespect meant. There's going to be work to create that new currency. So as much as people think that BRICS nations are going to, replace the dollar, they're not going to replace the dollar as a world reserve. I don't think. I think by the time they could possibly have the BRICS nations or the BRICS currency at a point where it could replace the U.S. dollar, I think that people would buy into crypto before that. I'm going on record as saying so. And why is that? I think it's because of the countries that are involved. Really. I mean, I look at the BRICS nations and I think the other people look at the BRICS nations and they're saying, I have a problem with global banking to begin with. There's a problem with finance to begin with. So you're just creating another currency for these countries that don't necessarily have strong economies. I think the strongest economy out of all of them is going to be China. Russia, not a strong economy. India, I think they have a strong economy. South Africa, I don't know about that. So I just look at all the BRICS nations that are involved and I just kind of go, really? You're going to replace? I don't think so. I think you're going to disrupt. Don't get me wrong. I think disruption is there, guaranteed. But replacement? I just don't. I see Bitcoin doing that before the BRICS nations. And I'm not saying that in jest. I really do think that by the time that's to happen, you'll have such adoption going on with crypto so that by the time you look at these BRICS nations, you're going to be sitting there going, why do I need to use fiat when I have so many places where I can spend crypto? I will use fiat where absolutely necessary, but where I can use crypto, I'll use crypto. So there's that. I look at that and I take that seriously. Something else to make note of, Europe has, or European Union has, the MiCA regulations. I'm looking at Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is saying, yeah, that's cute, whatever. We're going to loosen up so that we can have a stronger crypto ecosystem. That's huge because about a year ago, I told you about how Liechtenstein was the House of Liechtenstein, the world's largest private bank, was actually getting involved in crypto and doing all those kinds of things. And I want you to understand how you do business in Europe and certain countries overseas. You create a legal entity in a couple of places, either Liechtenstein or Switzerland, maybe Norway, but most likely Liechtenstein, right? Especially in real estate, you start there. So when I look at Liechtenstein trying to boost their ecosystem, I sit back and I go, kudos to you, good job, because things are going to change and it's going to be favorable to crypto. Anyway, we should get to the numbers. Numbers are actually pretty interesting today. Let's see here. There you go. All right. So looking at the numbers today, you can see that we're literally hovering around that 28 mark that I keep telling everybody about. That is, we've dipped below it and we seem to be literally riding on it right now. That is support right? That's the floor. It also can become your ceiling. That's the number. That's the number. The next number up is 31,580. The next number down is, I believe, 26,539. So that's the band of operation I'm looking at. The actual band is between 26,539 and 3150. If you look at everything, if you look at that band right there, right here, we seem to be existing, just moving laterally within that band. Some bigger moves, some smaller moves, but we seem to be operating within that band. That's what I keep pointing at. That's literally what I keep pointing at. Because, like I said, earlier this year, Bitcoin was down big and it was painful. There are things that can happen that can drive this up, right? JP Morgan buying the assets of First Republic Bank. Got to get some more stability in the banking system. Those are good things. That's a good thing. The bank failed. That's what happens. Businesses fail. Just because it's a bank does not mean it's not a business. Businesses fail. Businesses do well. JP Morgan is a bank that's doing well. First Republic is a bank that didn't. And that's what happens. But when I look at this, I look and I go, yeah, you know what? I think things are on the upside. I look at yesterday being 63 for the fear and greed index. And now we're at 55. Still in the greed area. Not really greedy all the way over here, but we're still in the greed area. But we did take a hit. And why is that? Yeah, because of First Republic. And now we also have to ponder the debt ceiling, right? Eventually that's going to happen. Eventually the debt ceiling will be raised. I don't know what kind of politics and stupidity is going on in Washington, but it will be raised. And I believe that Ray Dalio is right. I think at some point, the United States is going to start printing money again. I hope we don't. Businesses have to fail, and it's proving out time and time again that we can't keep bailing out big business. Big business does not give back to the little people, and the little people are the ones that get hurt. Stop printing. Let them fail. Just seriously. I think I look at that and I go, yeah, because it doesn't trickle down. It's not a thing. DeFi Llama, we're down. We were at 64 plus yesterday. We're down about $1 billion today in total value locked. Saw that. This was just on the screen. There you go. You can see that, yeah, we're taking a hit. Again, 28 is the floor, and we keep bouncing on that number. ETH is down. I like it to be around 1900, but I can tell you, it wasn't that long ago. It was just a couple of months ago that we were bouncing at around 1,000. So I'm not crying over this. I'm really not. Nobody should be panicking that, anything is going bad. With all these big hits, crypto is actually doing well. That's what I'm paying attention to. When I look at the numbers like this, I'm still looking at Bitcoin still up 68.66% over the year. Ethereum up over 52% over the year. Let's see, Cardano up 54% over the year. Polygon, don't know why it's sleeping, but even it is still up over 26% for the year. Solana, 119%. Don't know why. I just don't know why. Don't get it on that one. I mean, maybe I missed the boat, but I really don't get it. I mean, they don't have a network that's dependable. They haven't fixed the problem. And you'll see it take a hit. The next time another one, they go down again, you'll see it take a hit. I don't know how Solana has, a use case if they keep going down. And I like Solana. It's fast, cheap, but it's just not dependable. That's my problem with it. And they haven't announced, oh, hey, we have a fix. That hasn't happened yet. Now, when they do, Solana is just going to take off. Seriously. I think it'll just take off. The next one up, Avalanche. Big deal yesterday, 53% for the year. Again, I look at all of the numbers, 1 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, 30 day, 60 day, 90 day, 1 year. I look at all of the numbers to see if it's telling me a story. Then I look at the news to see if it's telling me a story. I put all of that together to make my decisions on each coin that I might be interested in. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. I hope you have a great day. And if my research helps you, let me know. Ask me questions. I'll try to get answers because every time you ask me something, I'm most likely learning something along with you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.